Hype Network presents.
I want to give you also some more background on why my production company is called Sky Island Storytelling. So I live in the mountains here in California. And in California, we have a change of geographics. So down on the sea level, it's like a desert nearby where I live. So no plants, it's like a desert. And then as you go up the mountain, everything changes and there becomes trees and other animals, and it's an entirely different environment.
If you want to learn something new or useless about the world around you, why don't you try listening to the Banyu Podcast Reflushed on Spotify, Anchor, or any podcast app that you use?
Hey folks, welcome back to another episode, and again the international series. We have international guests all over, and I have picked up another international guest for me this evening, and I want to introduce him. His name is Jeremy Norrie. I hope I pronounced it right, pal. Jeremy Norrie, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. So, before we begin, of course, I usually start off by building a narrative of who I'm talking to as a form of understanding who they are in the past. If you and I were classmates in
Sure.
high school, uh who were you in high school if you and I were classmates in high school?
Oh, I like that. So in high school, I was a nerd. I was, I went to a Catholic high school. So I was Catholic and I was practicing at that time in my life. And I was a little bit of an outlaw. I got in trouble a little, but mostly I was a good kid and I did poorly at my classes. I did not like going to school, and I played soccer. And when you watch all these shows like Stranger Things or anything like that, and it's a bunch of nerdy kids, that was me and my friends.
Interesting, interesting. At least you had friends. That's the good thing about being a nerd. What I've
Yes,
told. From what I've told, in American society, nerds are mostly outcast, but they're on their own introverted style kind of thing. At least it's good you have a circle of friends.
I absolutely agree. Especially being young, that was very important.
Yeah. This is interesting opening. Nerds and being an outcast. For me personally, I want to share a little bit of my story. When I went to India, of course, I was very young, and it's in my podcast as well. I've documented it in my podcast. I was an outcast in the way that I was known, but yet I was also an outcast because of that. I don't know if it makes sense.
I think I understand.
Yeah, because the school that I studied, it so happened to be my aunt was one of the teachers, so I had the advantage of uh, being protected by my aunt when she's around.
Uh-huh.
But when she's not around, of course, the liberties and the freedom is all at stake. If it makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And I do miss high school. That's the one thing about high school is that that's where characters are born, and the best of us come to get challenged and sing. But that's an interesting opening from you, pal. I really admire that. I admire that you have friends and you had someone stick around with you. So yeah.
Well, we were all nerds, so we were kind of outcasts that just found ourselves together. And we weren't exactly the same, but we were all outcasts. So
Yeah.
we bonded over that kind of um rejection from the other society and
Yeah.
other kids and whatnot.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I gotta ask though, where did the football, was that also part of the nerd side of things, or it was just something that you were primarily
Yes.
focusing?
So my dad is from Scotland,
Okay.
and so I was brought up kind of more like the European way, and I live here in America.
Yeah.
So I didn't play baseball, I played soccer. And later on I tried other sports, but
Yeah.
the soccer thing wasn't popular also. And that kind of set me apart from other kids. And it just didn't put me in situations that a lot of the other kids would have been in at younger ages, like basketball or football or something.
Yeah.
And so as I grew up, soccer also remained unpopular. And so
Yeah.
it just was this kind of bad thing that I was into.
But that's weird because now the FIFA is coming to Dubai, and I'm sure you're hyped up to see what's gonna happen on let's
I
say.
have seen soccer totally change in the eyes of society in America, and especially our Latino population. They have just driven it into part of the culture now. So we got teams, like we had no teams when I was a kid. There was no MLS or any of that stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's a whole thing, and I'm happy that it's much better for young people and for adults too.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting that football. Yeah, I agree because football to me on my end, I'm not a athlete or a sports guy. I only love playing when there's an interesting storytelling between the groups, between the rivals. There's this, especially cricket. Cricket is the thing that's very popular in in India. When the southern states start uh, becoming aggressive, they start playing very aggressive. It's more like this, there's this one-on-one competitive environment. It's really amazing. But I'm just there for the storytelling. I'm not really there for the game. I don't even know how to play the game sometimes, looking back at
That's
the,
how I
yeah.
feel about most sports too.
So there is a parallel between our lives. That's a good
Oh,
thing.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, storytelling for people like us is maybe a little different for the normal person, or maybe they
Yeah.
just don't realize what's happening.
Yeah.
I think one of my big sports is fighting. I'm way into martial arts and UFC and boxing and the whole thing. And
Yeah.
for me, the best kind of story, and this is probably true for all sports, it's when a team is coming from adversity. Maybe they get something bad happens to them early on, they start losing early on, and then they
Yeah.
overcome that to win.
Yeah.
And that's a story.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree 100%. Yeah, that's how storytelling is. I'm just curious though. Here in my Zoom account that I can see, I noticed that your name was not here, so I had to look it up on Messenger. What is Sky Island storytelling? I'm just curious. I just want to know.
Okay, yes. So I am a filmmaker. This is a great question for me. So Sky Island Storytelling is the name of my production company. And
Awesome.
theskyisland.com is the name of my website, where you can see all of my movies for free. And they're on all kinds of different platforms. I would imagine you probably can get them even in India somewhere.
Yeah. How about Philippines?
Yeah, I would imagine there too. Like, so we're on YouTube. I mean, we're on all kinds of big platforms that are international, you know? I know that my films have been translated by our distribution company into other languages for
Oh,
certain
that's cool.
places. So
Wow.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you could find them. And I've made almost 30 films. So
Wow.
one of them is probably somewhere. You know what I mean?
Wow. I'm
And
impressed. I'm
I want to
impressed.
give you also some more background on why my production company is called Sky Island Storytelling.
Yeah.
So I live in the mountains here in California. And in California, we have a change of geographics. So down on the sea level, it's like a desert nearby where I live. So no plants, it's like a desert. And then as you go up the mountain, everything changes and there becomes trees and other animals. And it's an entirely different environment
Yeah.
and all kinds of different wildlife and nature, right? So the term for that is a sky island because the land below is totally different, and then as you go up, it's an entirely new world. And when I learned that after living up in the mountains, I thought, oh my God, that's just like so many of my favorite stories from like animation or from like folklore or,
Wow.
even Viking religions and stuff like that. It's very common for there to be a story of some fantastical place that's in the sky where either all the rich people are going to leave the poor behind and live a fantasy life, or it's like a heaven of some kind.
That's pretty interesting, Sky Island. That's I never thought of it like that, but I can imagine because I'm a creative guy. I like to draw. I just recently spoke about an image that I had in my head, and I wanted to transcribe it into an abstract format, and I did transcribe it. It's in my one of my IG pages, and I was satisfied. And the image that I want to
That's
share with you,
awesome.
the image that I want to share with you is this image of a kid, a baby, a child that is standing on a lake, and then the lake, you could see my art style being seen as it unfolds. Like it's very hard to explain it. It's very hard to transcribe it and put it into words because my style of drawing, my style of creating is very different. Very I don't know how to say it without sounding condescending. But yeah,
It's okay.
it's just one of those images that's stuck in your head, and once you transcribe it, it's like a musical piece. Once you play it, it feels something. There's uh that sort of connection towards you and that art. And to me personally,
Sure.
that's what I felt after creating that piece of art. You can find it at RCD underscore artworks. I'm plugging that already. You guys can check it out at RCD underscore artworks. And it's on Instagram. I
No, I
posted it
love it.
on
I'll definitely check it out.
it's on Instagram. It's fun. So storytelling again. Let's go back to storytelling, Sky Island. What is your most favorite? You said you worked on 30 projects, and the way you discovered Sky Island in California. What is your most favorite storytelling that you've wanted to share to the world? You know that is
Hmm.
out there, that movie.
That is a tough question. We've done many films, and I choose the topics on all the films, and they series, right?
Yeah,
So they're all true stories, or thought to be true by the people telling them.
yeah,
We've done some really popular ones that I enjoyed making and everything. And then I have some others that haven't been the most popular, but
yeah,
I feel like they're really wonderful films and stories.
yeah.
So it's hard to choose just one. I am the subject of one of them. So I guess that would probably be my favorite because it is about me. But I'm also partial to a good cause. So we did a story about an alpine zoo, a rehabilitation place for animals up by where I live.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like such an important story that it's hard for me to say something else is my favorite over that.
Yeah.
But I also have a story about me. I used to host an international hash competition, and we threw events all over the world, all
Wow.
over United States, and I almost got arrested many times, and it was exciting, and that's a great story, a great movie, one of our best works.
Yeah. It's
We have a
kind of
couple
odd.
other ones that are really good too.
It's kind of odd when you said you nearly got arrested and you kind of enjoyed it. It kind of it kind of gave itself its own context.
Well, almost getting arrested is much better than getting arrested.
Yeah. But that's interesting though. At least you've taken life and you've taken it like a cloud, or you've taken it like this wonderful baby, and you've made it your own, and you're still
It has
curious.
been it's been ups and downs for me, so
Yeah.
I definitely feel that way, and thank you for saying that. I feel very complete as a person at this point in my life. But to get here, there were many points where I didn't want to live anymore, or I thought I was doing the wrong thing, or that I would have to change my life dramatically and be a different kind of person, and not be able to pursue this creative lifestyle, and
Yeah.
live the free life that I've enjoyed for so long,
Yeah.
and go back to like the standard consumer life of like
Yeah.
going to work every day,
Nine to
and
five.
the 9 to 5. So it's very fortunate that I'm here, and yes, it's been a crazy adventure. I risked my life a lot, and not all those risks turned out to be super worth it, but it all got me here, so I guess in a way it was.
I want to say I'm proud of you, pal. At least, if I know we're strangers and it's coming out weird, but I want to say that I'm proud of you for taking that leap, because not much of people have the ability to take that leap, especially uh, families that have connection with the need, connection with their families where they can't sacrifice their passions for that. And I really I admire and respect their decision for choosing that kind of lifestyle over passions as well. But I applaud you, and I wish I was there to give you a hug, because at least taken you have taken something and made it worth its while. And in life, when you look back at it when you're
Thank you very much.
90, it's you can look back at it as, a story for the kids, as they say it. So yeah, I'm proud of you, pal. I'm proud of you.
I
Yeah,
I really appreciate that, and I would give you a big hug. I'm giving you a hug in spirit right now, and
I'm feeling it.
I hope that my story can help other people to do similar thing to me, because it is something that was difficult, but I think more attainable for people than they think, and really, it's just about taking that first step. Most of the time when I tried something, it wasn't because I knew that I definite, it was a risk. And many of those risks didn't work. But uh, maintaining focus, and keep trying. Fail over and over and over until you succeed.
Yeah. I'm looking for a specific. I want to squeeze the best out of this conversation. I hope you don't mind. Uh, l- I
I
I
don't.
usually I usually get quotations from my guests. Sometimes they come out accidentally and becomes a quotation of quotations. I want to squeeze the best out of this conversation. If there is a quote in your life
Sure.
has been that's been with you, a quotation with you that's been with you for a longer time, what is that quotation that that's stayed with you for a very long time?
So I really do love quotations, and I'm slipping to have like an excellent one to give you right now, but there's a lot from movies that I like as a filmmaker. So usually I like to go with the movie one just because that's my spin. But I mean, Marcus Aurelius has some amazing quotes. Like there's so many good quotes out there. But for me, I always go back to kind of the Terminator quote, and there's no fate but what you make for yourself. And that's kind of the thing. It's no fate but what you make. That was their that was their thing in the movie, and I think that is a it's an underappreciated quote because it is from a movie,
Yeah.
but the purpose behind that, the meaning behind that, is universal.
So there's no fate. Forgive me if I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah, if you've ever seen the movie, there's a couple moments, and there's one moment where he's like carving it into the the lead female character is carving it into a picnic table, and it's no fate. And then the child character, he's like, no fate, huh? And then he says, the future isn't set. There's no fate but what we make for ourselves. And it goes with the movie because it's a time travel movie, and then somebody has been sent back in time and the whole thing. And if they were able to change the future, then change an event that would be able to change the future, right? So I don't think that that's only applicable for time travel. I think that
Yeah.
that's applicable for all
Yeah.
people, that if at any point in your life you decide to take hold of your life and make a change,
Yeah.
you change your fate.
Yeah. But I wanna again. I wanna. Sorry if I'm pushy about the topic of quotation. I wanna squeeze the best out of you, out of your experience with
Sure,
life.
sure.
With what is that Jeremy Norrie quotation that you live by? That is not from a movie. That's not from anything. It's just you, purely
Oh,
you.
my own quote that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's see. So hard. I mean, I do like what I just said previously, where I said fail over and over and over until you succeed. I do
Yeah.
believe in that.
Yeah.
I also believe in uh, less is more for your life. Living a life with less possessions and uh, less physical needs, and having a life of more experience is a really wonderful life to strive for. I'm I'm like a really different kind of person, and I think there's a great value in being unique as well.
There you go. I just got one. I love it when I catch these kind of quotations. There's a great value in being. I just got that. It was a nice sweet sauce that you put on saying, because right now I'm making quotation banners already, and I usually get these.
Sure.
These are the things that I do sometimes when I'm having a conversation. I multitask, and I get these tiny snippets of quotations that people say by accident that become something much powerful as a tool. And it's just I just love that. That's one thing I love about podcasting, and it's an honor for me to catch these tiny snippets. Now the thing is, it's crossed my mind, but I listen to it in
I love
the
it.
while editing it. I'll listen to it and I'll get it back again. But yeah, a great unique something. I remember only a great unique because great unique was saying, "Wow, we've had an interesting conversation. We spoke about storytelling, movies, getting arrested. I felt like I was there with you at the in that moment, at that party, at that event, and I love the stories. I love the stories. If if we're talking about reflection, I want to ask you something. If we're talking about reflection, what is the most? I know I asked this earlier, but this is for a different purpose because this is part of my series. If you reflect back and you were to change time, what would you do, and what timeline of your life would you take it?
Hmm. If I could go back, I think I would just encourage myself as a younger person to um, take more risks and be more self at a younger age, because it took me a while to really get out of my shell.
Yeah,
And like a very specific thing I think I would change would be in high school. When I entered high school from elementary school, in elementary school, active in our like entertainment uh, portion of the school. So we had school plays and stuff like that, and lip sync contests. I was in all of those. I participated a great deal. And then when I went to high school, I didn't take drama class, and I didn't participate in the theater.
yeah,
And I really wish that I had. And I think that's the very most specific thing that I would have changed.
yeah. High school. Wow, taking it back into high school. That's interesting. That is where if you probably changed that timeline, you'd have an interesting life then, or you would have still been
It would have
the same.
totally changed my pathway.
Yeah,
I probably would have made it into filmmaking at a far younger age. And I
yeah.
don't know whether that would have been good or bad, but it seems like an advantage to me now. So I wish I would have done that.
I forgot to ask this question: storytelling and making movies. What genre do you focus mainly on?
So I make documentaries. My favorite for watching is science fiction,
Yeah,
but I like to tell true stories that are inspirational. So, well, in saying that, our most popular films are what I call strange phenomenon,
yeah,
which kind of borderline on conspiracy theory. So
yeah,
they may be true, they may also not be true. But the stories that touch me the most are stories of adversity, where somebody has had something difficult and they've overcome it to be better, and that
yeah,
they're a lot of times helping others to do the same. So we have a bullying documentary that's like that. We have a martial arts documentary that's like that. Mindfulness, one that's kind of about Buddhism and mindfulness. And we've just we've explored many topics over the years that are really helpful for people, and I am super proud of that.
wow. This has been an interesting journey. I felt I feel energized by the storytelling, and I felt like I'm there with you when you mentioned Sky Island, and
Yes.
I feel like I'm a part of the Sky Islanders. I think I don't know what word, if that's a word.
Yeah, you're part of the family.
I'm a member of the Sky Island. So that's an awesome feeling to be a part of something. At least now
Yeah,
the world.
absolutely. And if you ever find yourself out in Big Bear, please get in touch with me. You're more than welcome to come by
Awesome, awesome. I'm looking forward to it, but I don't have my passport yet. But I'm looking forward to it.
someday.
Yeah, someday we'll get there. Probably we'll take the show there as well. As of now,
Love it.
I would love to continue and discuss further our storytelling here. Unfortunately, Zoom is telling us to
Sure.
wrap it up, and
Ah,
as you notice, Zoom is wanting us to wrap up. So before we wrap up, of course, for my listeners, in order for them to find you on social media, how will they find you on social media, pal?
The best way is to go to my website, theskyisland.com. All my social media links are on there. The other way is to just look up Sky Island Storytelling. That is my name on Instagram and on Facebook. And on Twitter, it's Sky Island Stories. So that's the main places you'll be able to find me. Um, but my website's usually the best place to get access to everything. We post all our new films there, all the links to the biggest places to find the films. You can also search my name wherever you are watching movies. If you put my name in, I'm the director of most of the movies, so it pops them up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the best thing.
And it's free. Don't forget that, folks. For those who are tuning in, it's free. So there's no excuse. There's a lot. There's lots to discover on this side of the world. This is really interesting, and I hope my guests would agree with that.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing to help me as a filmmaker is to rate my movies on the website imdb.com. So you
Awesome.
can type my name in there, all my movies come up, and you can rate them all.
Awesome. I'm gonna sit down and one of these days I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna check out one of your films. I promise.
Please. Yeah.
I promise. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of my show. Hopefully you come back to my show again and we'll continue probably on a different theme and a different storytelling. But I hope you come back to my show again as a guest. It's a huge honor having you on my show.
My pleasure. Yeah. If there's ever a movie you want to talk about or a storyline, just let me know. I'm happy to come back.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to say thank you for Pal for being my guest, and I absolutely love having you, and hope to hear from you again, Pal.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, and thank you also. I appreciate the opportunity.
And for those who are tuning in, cheers, folks. We will see you in the next episode.